Chapter 91. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Thanks to Zhang Rui's good performance, the college exchange competition ended successfully. Although there were some episodes, this time, Shanghai College won the college exchange competition again in more than 10 years. Principal Qian was very happy and gave all students a day off directly. However, these students did not go out to play because of the holiday. Instead, they were all bare-shouldered and only wore shorts of different colors, running continuously on the playground. This also shocked Zhang Rui a little. He did not expect these students to do what they said, which made him feel a little relieved that he could go to Shanghai College. Of course, these people are all male students. Who among the female students can run? If they really ran, it is estimated that all the students in the school would watch, and the scene would be more spectacular than the college exchange competition. Due to Zhang Rui's excellent performance in the exchange competition, he has now become the common goal pursued by all the students in the school, and Yi Fei also took the opportunity to deceive the hearts of ignorant girls in the college under the banner of Zhang Rui, which is almost the same as Xiaozi Xingqian. After the game, Zhang Rui was called to the principal's office by Principal Qian to discuss something with him. Congratulations, Zhang Rui, you have won a very high honor for our Shanghai College. We should be proud of you. Principal Qian took Zhang Rui to the office, asked him to sit down first, and then sat in front of his desk, took a sip of tea on the table and said, then, he took out a tooth-like thing from his body, and then a gem containing magical energy and placed it in front of Zhang Rui, saying, this is the dragon's tooth and the dragon's gem. These are all from Principal Lin. With these props, I think your violent dragon strength will definitely improve a lot of combat capabilities. Zhang Rui's eyes lit up when he saw the props on the table, and he quickly put away the dragon's tooth and the dragon's gem, and at the same time expressed his gratitude to Principal Qian. At this time, Principal Qian said again, if I'm not mistaken, your violent dragon has broken through level 50, right? Sure enough, it's coming. Zhang Rui looked at Principal Qian's face full of age spots, and kept complaining in his heart, I thought that Principal Qian would not let Zhang Rui graduate early because of his great contribution, but I didn't expect that Principal Qian was really ruthless. He wanted to drive him away so quickly. Didn't he want to keep him to win honor for him? You also know the rules of our school. If any of the students' elves reaches level 50, our school will let them graduate early. Of course, the school will only give you a graduation certificate in advance, and there will be no rewards. However, graduates have a chance to get national attention. I want to ask you if you want to participate. Principal Qian seemed to see through Zhang Rui's mind and said to Zhang Rui, which was actually what he thought in his heart. Good boy, you have reached level 50, but you still don't report to me. You are thinking of cutting the leaks of the college. There is no way. Just graduate obediently. Zhang Rui, who was a little disappointed at first, heard that there was still a chance for graduates. Could it be another opportunity to cut leaks? Zhang Rui didn't even think about it and immediately said, what opportunity? As long as it doesn't cheat people, I will participate. It's impossible to cheat people. This is an event held by the country. We principals don't have such courage. This event is held every year. It is estimated to start in the next few days. Do you want to participate? I heard that there are rich rewards. Principal Qian replied. Zhang Rui thought about it carefully. It would be too cheap for the school if he graduated directly now. It would be better to participate in the event and cut the leaks of the country directly. After all, it is an event held by the country, and the rewards should not be bad. I agree. Zhang Rui thought for a few seconds and replied. Principal Qian nodded, picked up a piece of paper from the chopping board on the table, handed it to him for him to fill out, and said, after filling it out, I will submit it to you. Don't run around during this period. I will notify you when there is news. After Zhang Rui filled it out, he handed over the form in his hand and nodded. Just when he was about to leave, he suddenly remembered that he had won a skill secret exchange voucher in the rookie match. Since I got it, it has been a waste to keep it with me. I just want to learn a new skill for Bayo Filong. It is better to take this opportunity to exchange the skill secrets to save the trouble of exchanging them in the future. Thinking of this, Zhang Rui took out the skill secret exchange voucher and handed it to Principal Qian, smiling slightly. Principal Qian, I still have a skill secret exchange voucher here. Can I use it now? Of course, but it's a pity that the supervisor of the treasure house is on leave today, so I can only take you there. After that, he took the skill secret exchange coupon handed by Zhang Rui and took Zhang Rui to the treasure house. The treasure house of the academy is at the southernmost part of the teaching building. There are a large number of trainers guarding it every day. If other trainers want to break in, they have to endure the siege of these trainers. It can be said that it is the most strictly guarded place in the academy. Almost every time you enter, you have to go through multiple body detections. However, Zhang Rui entered under the leadership of Principal Qian, so he didn't need to go through the inspection at all, just go in directly. As soon as he entered the treasure house, he saw a huge iron door. Knock it with your hand, it is at least several centimeters thick. Next to the iron door is a password lock, which requires fingerprints or passwords to enter. Principal Qian didn't think about it, and directly pressed the handprint. After a beep, the huge iron door kept shaking, and then split into two and slowly moved to both sides. Since pressing the handprint is to trigger the mechanism, the lights in the entire treasure house are obviously turned on, and Zhang Rui can see the original appearance of the treasure house. As the iron door was just opened, there was a smell of logs coming from inside. Zhang Rui sniffed it a few times and was sure that it was definitely a century-old wood, otherwise it wouldn't smell so good. And these old woods have been carved into exquisite shelves by high-end carvers, and the treasures in the treasure house are also placed on the shelves. Let's go. The skill secrets are not here, come with me. After Principal Qian finished speaking, he followed Zhang Rui to a corner of the treasure house, where a large number of skill secrets were piled up. However, compared with the surrounding items, it seems that there are fewer skill secrets, but Zhang Rui didn't care. Less is less. As long as there are skill secrets. Zhang Rui walked to the pile of skill secrets and began to select the skill secrets he wanted from them. Since the Tyrannosaurus already has the skill of guarding, Zhang Rui naturally doesn't need to choose this skill. Instead, he chose a feathering skill from it. As for why Zhang Rui chose this skill, it was because he already had the attack and amplification skills of the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and if he was hurt, how could he not have the healing skill? In fact, Zhang Rui mainly thought of this after seeing Wang Chen's performance in the battle. As long as he used the healing skill when the opponent attacked, the success rate of the battle was greatly increased. Chapter 92. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Zhang Rui picked up the Yuchi skill secret book on the table, he glanced at Principal Qian next to him. After getting his affirmation, he was delighted. Since he got the skill secret he wanted, Zhang Rui didn't want to stay here for long, so he was ready to leave. Just as he turned around, he was attracted by a reddish-brown slate on a shelf in the distance. He even felt a familiar feeling from the slate. Boy, since you have chosen it, let's go. Principal Qian was now standing at the door. He wanted to leave with Zhang Rui, but when he came near the iron gate, he found that Zhang Rui did not follow him. He turned around and looked in the direction of Zhang Rui. At this time, he was standing next to the shelf, holding a slate in his hand, with a curious look on his face. Principal Qian did not drive Zhang Rui away, but patiently said to him, "What? Are you interested in that slate that you don't know what it is used for?" "Principal Qian, do you know the origin of this slate?" Hearing Principal Qian's voice, Zhang Rui picked up the slate in his hand and asked Principal Qian to confirm it. Principal Qian nodded, and after thinking carefully, he said, "Actually, I don't know much. I only know that this stone slab was obtained from an ancient relic. When we got it, we were just like you, very curious about the purpose of this stone slab. But we studied it for a long time, but didn't get anything. We only know that there is a magical power in it, but we don't know what it is. No matter how we study it, we don't know how to use the power inside. If you like it, I can give it to you for free. It's useless to keep this kind of useless thing here." After hearing what Principal Qian said, Zhang Rui was very excited, but he didn't show it on his face. He must not let Principal Qian doubt it now. If he knew that Zhang Rui knew the stone slab in his hand and knew how to use it, he would never give it to him so easily. "Thank you, Principal Qian, but do you know where the ruins of the stone slab are? Zhang Rui quickly put the stone slab away, came to Principal Qian, and asked. I don't know where the ruins are, but my friend may know about it. If you have a chance, you can go to the Origin Forest to find him. If you mention my name, that person will definitely help you. Seeing Zhang Rui was so interested in the stone slab, Principal Qian smiled and said to him. Let's go. I still need to submit the form here. If you don't submit it within the specified time, you won't even have the opportunity to participate in the event. Then, Zhang Rui followed Principal Qian out of the treasure house. After leaving the door of the treasure house, Zhang Rui and Principal Qian parted ways and came to the restaurant to prepare for dinner. However, he first entered a hidden place and put all the stone slabs, skill secrets, and props into the warehouse. This is actually to reduce the fear of other people. Although Zhang Rui is very strong, he doesn't care much about the fear of others. It's better to be fine than to be in trouble. After eating some in the cafeteria, Zhang Rui was ready to go back to the dormitory. His energy block has not been made yet. And his elves are also hungry, which is not what Zhang Rui wants. Just when Zhang Rui arrived at the dormitory door, he saw Yi Fei running towards him quickly, holding 2 emails in his hands, and excitedly said, Brother, do you know what this is? Looking at the emails in Yi Fei's hand, Zhang Rui frowned. The only thing he could think of was the reward for helping the Alliance detectives destroy the skeleton team's plan. He didn't expect them to deliver it so quickly. Zhang Rui did not answer, but took an unopened email from Yi Fei and said to Yi Fei, I didn't expect it to be delivered so soon. Yes. As expected of the Elf Alliance. It's a big deal, a skill secret, and 500,000 Chinese yuan. By the way, I have an appointment with a beautiful woman to explore the abandoned building tonight. Do you want to go? Zhang Rui looked at the email in his hand, glanced at Yi Fei, and rejected it. Go by yourself. I don't want to eat your dog food. Besides, I still have to make energy blocks, so I don't have extra time to go. As he said, Zhang Rui took the email and prepared to go into the house, but was aroused by Yi Fei's next words. I heard that a large number of ghost-type elves have appeared in the abandoned building recently. I will go to the abandoned building with that beautiful girl to explore. Maybe I can catch a ghost-type elf. After Yi Fei finished speaking proudly, he picked up the phone and dialed a number. He turned and walked out of the school, saying, Baby, are you ready for our trip to the abandoned building today? Just wait and see my performance. Abandoned building? I'll go there when I have time. Zhang Rui listened to Yi Fei's voice fading away, muttering in his mouth. After returning to the dormitory, Zhang Rui prepared a little, and then came to the intermediate energy block production machine and began to make intermediate energy blocks. Following the steps of the intermediate energy block, Zhang Rui also succeeded in making it at once. Looking at the experience block in his hand that had obviously increased in size, he was very surprised. Afterwards, he made a lot of intermediate energy blocks. Of course, there were also energy blocks that increased physical attack and speed, and some blocks that could only supplement nutrition. After the energy blocks were made, Zhang Rui summoned Shakiras and Tyrannosaurus, took out some physical blocks and intermediate experience blocks, and then he made a lot of energy blocks. The test cubes were placed in the bowls of Shakiras and Tyrannosaurus. Of course, in order to praise Tyrannosaurus for saving his life in a critical moment, Zhang Rui gave him a little more physical attack cubes, and at the same time, let Tyrannosaurus carry the Dragon Fang and Dragon Gem. In addition, there are also skill secrets taken from the treasure house. The skill secret is a secret skill, but in fact, it is a disc. When the disc is placed on Tyrannosaurus's head, the disc will emit a dazzling light, and the light will soon be injected into Tyrannosaurus's head. Tyrannosaurus, who was eating, suddenly felt a strong memory appear in his mind, as if he was born with it. Tyrannosaurus, use feather perch. After Zhang Rui saw that the skill secrets had disappeared, he gave an order to the Tyrannosaurus. When the Tyrannosaurus heard the order, its body quickly gathered energy, and a large number of feathers gradually fell from around its body, all scattered on the wound of the Tyrannosaurus. Zhang Rui could see through the data eye that the injuries on the Tyrannosaurus were recovering rapidly, and had changed from serious injuries to minor injuries. It can be seen that the recovery effect is extraordinary. At this time, Shakira's, who was eating energy cubes next to him, was envious. Brother Long was already very strong, and now he has new equipment. His strength is estimated to be even better. Zhang Rui also noticed Shakira's mood, touched its hard head, smiled slightly and said, "Don't worry, wait for me to open the email and see if the skill secrets in it are suitable for you." Chapter 93. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhang Rui took out the mail sent by the Alliance from the house. Since the skills and secrets in it were randomly distributed, Zhang Rui didn't know what skills and secrets the Alliance would send. If the skills and secrets in it were not suitable for Shakira's after opening it, there was nothing he could do. He could only say that Shakira's had bad luck. Soon, Zhang Rui tore open the mail. Inside was a skills secret book wrapped in a plastic bag, a card from the elf bank, and a thank you letter. Zhang Rui took a rough look at the thank you letter. At first glance, it was a thank you to Zhang Rui for helping him, which was able to solve such a big crisis. No matter how he looked at it, the font on the paper was just copy and paste. Zhang Rui felt bored and threw it aside, pick up the skills secret book to see what skill it was. Hold, completely resist the opponent's attack. Note, continuous use will fail. When Zhang Rui saw the introduction of the skill secret, his eyes lit up. Sure enough, the Alliance still understood people's hearts very well. They knew what skills Zhang Rui needed and sent them to him. The Tyrannosaurus has learned the skill of holding, and this skill secret belongs to Shakira's. Seeing Shakira's expectant look, Zhang Rui directly put the skill secret in his hand on Shakira's head. As the light gradually disappeared, it was obvious that Shakira's had learned the skill of holding. After receiving Zhang Rui's reward, Shakira's was very excited and ate very hard. In a few minutes, all the energy blocks were eaten, of course, because Zhang Rui added the intermediate experience block to it this time. Shakira's level was upgraded again, and it was across multiple levels, directly reaching level 38. This upgrade speed also made Zhang Rui sigh and said, "Is this the effect of the intermediate experience block? This is not a level lower than the primary level. Since the intermediate level is already like this, what about the advanced level? And the special level above? These effects are unimaginable, but as the grade increases, the tree fruit required for the energy block becomes larger." Fortunately, Zhang Rui has a small world, otherwise it would be a century-long problem to obtain the tree fruit in the future. Thinking that there will be advanced energy blocks in the future, Zhang Rui now only has a primary energy block machine, and the intermediate block making machine just now is from the school, so it is impossible for Zhang Rui to take it away. So, Zhang Rui plans to buy an advanced energy block making machine earlier when he has time. Anyway, he has a lot of money on him, and the energy block making machine is much cheaper than the energy block. At this time, the Tyrannosaurus has also eaten the energy block, and the level has also been quickly upgraded to level 57. The current level of the Tyrannosaurus is already over 50. It is almost very difficult to upgrade at this level. Now that it has eaten a meal, it has directly upgraded 2 levels, which is already outrageous. However, the elves are full, so Zhang Rui took them back. Looking at the time, it was only 13 o'clock in the afternoon, and there was a long time for Zhang Rui to travel in the dungeon. System, I want to challenge the Golden Gym. Prepare for me to teleport. Ding dong. Okay host, teleport for you now. As soon as the system sounded, a black vortex appeared in front of him, and Zhang Rui walked in directly. When Zhang Rui opened his eyes, what appeared in front of him was not the Golden Gym, but a dark forest. He could not see the front at all in the distance. The chilly wind blew, and Zhang Rui, who was wearing a white short-sleeved shirt, suddenly felt a chill. Is there an error in the system? This place doesn't look like Golden City at all. Even if Zhang Rui complained at this time, the system did not respond to his words. There was no way. Zhang Rui could only bite the bullet and walk forward. Golden City Gym. Golden Gym is the gym of Nancy, a psychic trainer. Nancy is a genius girl who uses psychic elves, and she has a strong psychic talent. When Xiaoji fought against her, she was controlled by her young Jila. Without the help of Nancy's father, Xiaoji would not be able to pass the level so easily. At this time, Zhang Rui had been walking in the forest for a while, but he didn't even meet an elf. This was not the point. The point was that he was lost, there was fog all around, and it was night. Zhang Rui couldn't find a way out, there was no way, so Zhang Rui was ready to take a break and continue on his way. Just when Zhang Rui wanted to take a break under the tree, he suddenly saw a little girl with a bow hat and light blue hair appear in the bushes in the distance. Giggled. The little girl made a terrifying sound and retreated backwards. Zhang Rui, naturally I know who that little girl is, this is actually what Nancy looked like when she was a child, but now she is Nancy's rag doll. Since she appeared, it means that the front is Golden City. Zhang Rui did not rest either, and followed the figure of the little girl and ran quickly to the distance. After a while, Zhang Rui came to the gate of Golden City. Hearing that everyone here has superpowers, Zhang Rui actually didn't believe it, but Nancy was an exception. She really has superpowers. If he fails, she will be turned into a rag doll, but there is no way. Zhang Rui must pass the copy in front of him, otherwise, the subsequent copies cannot be opened at all. After arriving in Golden City, Zhang Rui did not go to the Pokémon Center, but came to a building that looked like a tent. He knew that the golden gym in front of him was, at this time, the figure of the little girl appeared again, as if guiding Zhang Rui forward. Following the guidance of the little girl, Zhang Rui came to the competition venue inside the building. The venue is very huge, but under the dim light, it looks particularly terrifying. Looking at the black shadow in the distance, there were two torches burning fiercely next to it, but the strong flames made it difficult to see the black figure. Zhang Rui knew that the person sitting in front was Nancy, and immediately said, "I'm here to challenge you." Zhang Rui had just finished speaking when he saw the figure of the little girl, but her eyes were red. She smiled and said to him, "Of course, but if you lose, you have to play with me." "Of course, I'm happy to play with you." Zhang Rui replied. Hearing Zhang Rui's answer, a cute girl sitting on a chair appeared behind the little girl. She had the same hair as the little girl, but her body was slim and had a queen style. "You are Nancy, right?" Nancy nodded, her eyes emitting blue light, and she controlled her body to come to the competition venue, and said lightly, "Now let's start a one-on-one elf battle. You should know this rule." Seeing Zhang Rui nodded, Nancy asked the little girl in her arms to take out the elf ball and throw it out. The moment the pokeball touched the ground, Casey ran out of the pokeball, sat on the ground, and was sleeping soundly without any movement. "Go." Shakira's. Zhang Rui naturally knew how powerful Casey was, but he did not summon Dragonite, but let Shakira's hone his level. Seeing Casey sleeping on the field, Zhang Rui did not think much and let Shakira's take the lead in attacking, used the Wave of Evil. Chapter 94. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Shakira's body exuded an evil aura, which made Nancy feel a little sick. Even Casey, who was sleeping, sensed the danger and stood up immediately. There was a black substance in Shakira's mouth that kept condensing. When this substance condensed into a small ball, it was suddenly released from his mouth quickly. This beam of light was like a chain, attacking Casey in the distance. Nancy's eyes emitted blue light, and Casey also did it synchronously, trying to twist the black ray that rushed over, but it found that it could not control the black ray. Seeing that the black ray was about to hit Casey, Nancy could only let Casey use teleportation to come behind Shakira's to avoid the damage caused by the evil wave. The black ray hit Casey's position, and a small pit appeared, but fortunately Casey teleported away, otherwise he would probably lose his combat ability directly. Nancy glanced at the man in front of her. She knew that the other party's strength was definitely extraordinary. At this time, her eyes emitted blue light again, and Casey's body in the distance was changing rapidly. The originally thin tail began to grow thick, and he held a silver spoon in his hand, full of fighting power towards Shakira's in the distance. Zhang Rui was not surprised when he saw Casey evolve. If Nancy could only teleport, she would not have the strength to sit in the position of gym leader. However, Zhang Rui was thinking that if Shakira's evolved and became Bangjira's, perhaps no matter what skills this Yangjira used, it would be ineffective for Bangjira's. At this moment, Yangjira's eyes lit up, waving the spoon in his hand, remotely controlling Shakira's in the distance. First, he threw Shakira's into the air, and then used telekinesis to smash Shakira's to the ground. Telekinesis. Zhang Rui's mouth corner slightly raised, use hold. A green barrier immediately appeared on Shakira's body, isolating Yang Jiraiya's superpowers outside, causing its superpowers to lose their effect. Shakira's fell from the sky, and Zhang Rui gave it another order, Evil Wave. Shakira's aimed at Yang Jiraiya in the distance, and once again emitted an evil aura. The black light was generated again and flew quickly towards Yang Jiraiya. Nazi saw that the situation was not good, and once again asked Yang Jiraiya to use instant teleportation. When the black light hit it, its body immediately disappeared and came to the side of Shakira's. At this moment, Yang Jiraiya's body shape changed again, his body began to hunch back, and his beard grew again, but his tail disappeared, and the silver spoon in his hand became two. Name, Alakazam, Attribute, Superpower, Level, LV36, Quality, A+. Gender, Male, Status, Healthy, Features, Synchronization. Carried items, none. Inherited moves, Barrier, Do It Again, Basic skills, Bending Spoon. Instant Teleport, Telekinesis, Immobilization, Illusionary Ray, Miracle Eye, Reflection Wall, Psychic Blade, Self-Regeneration, Telekinesis Exchange, Taught Skills, Electric Shock Wave, Secret Skills, Shadow Ball. Is this your true strength? After Ujira evolved again, Zhang Rui looked at the calm and cool sister and asked. Nancy did not speak, but her eyes emitted a blue light, while Alakazam's eyes emitted a blue light. Facing Shakira's, who had just landed on the ground, a beam of pink energy quickly appeared, and the beam was like a dancing snake, as if it wanted to swallow Shakira's in one gulp. Evil Wave. Zhang Rui did not hesitate at all and immediately asked Shakira's to use evil skills. In fact, he also wanted to use other skills, but he was worried that using other skills would be controlled by Alakazam, causing the attack to rebound on himself, and evil skills are restrained by superpowers, and superpowers can be said to be ineffective against evil skills, which has become one of Zhang Rui's offensive means. Shakira's released black rays again, and the two different colors of rays collided violently, releasing dazzling light. However, due to the evil attribute, the pink light seemed to be unable to do anything to the black light, and was directly suppressed by the black light. No matter how Alakazam released energy, it had no effect on the black light. As a result, the black ray gradually approached Alakazam, and it was too late for Nancy to let Alakazam use instant teleportation. Alakazam's body was hit by the black ray and his body quickly retreated backwards. Bang! With the full output of the black ray, a violent explosion occurred directly, and Alakazam was submerged in the violent explosion. At this moment, Nancy's eyes released a blue light. Zhang Rui knew that Alakazam had not lost its fighting ability and was about to use skills again. Just behind Shakira's, Alakazam appeared again. At this time, its body was attacked by evil attributes and was seriously injured. I believe that if it is hit again, Alakazam will lose its fighting ability, but there was still an accident. Alakazam's two silver spoons crossed together, and an invisible force appeared in its body. On the yellow skin, the black injuries were recovering rapidly. In less than a few seconds, Alakazam had recovered to its peak state. You'd better admit defeat. My Alakazam, you can't beat it at all. Nancy said to Zhang Rui in a condescending tone, as if she had seen the result of the game, but Zhang Rui did not feel defeated at this time. Instead, the corners of his mouth slightly raised. The real game has just begun. Shakira's, raise the sandstorm. Shakira's eyes radiated blue light, and the soil around the silver armor quickly turned into wild sand. With Shakira's control, it kept spinning on the entire field, and it was impossible to see clearly. Alakazam was shrouded in a sandstorm, and sand hit its body from time to time, which showed that the damage was average. Do you think you can use the sandstorm to attack it by surprise? Ridiculous. Nancy sneered. She felt a little bored with Zhang Rui's skills. Now she wanted to end the battle and turn Zhang Rui into a doll for her to play with. Alakazam's eyes on the battlefield radiated blue light, and his body was wrapped in blue light. The crazy spinning sand stopped moving, and the surroundings seemed to be still. However, this was also part of Zhang Rui's plan. Zhang Rui immediately said, Shakira's, use rock slide. A large number of rocks quickly appeared around Shakira's body and flew towards Alakazam in the distance. At this time, Alakazam controlled the sandstorm around him through telekinesis, so he had no time to pay attention to the rocks that were about to fly over. Chapter 95. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Alakazam used his body's strength to control the movement of the sandstorm, and watched the approaching rocks. He had no way to control it. Because of this, the rocks hit Alakazam's body very accurately. The strong impact made Alakazam move backwards, and the superpower of controlling the sandstorm instantly collapsed when it was hit by the rocks. The dusty sandstorm started again, constantly hitting Alakazam's body. Alakazam's body was still unable to move after being hit by the rocks, and the second rock also flew over quickly. The gray-brown armor on Alakazam's body quickly flew out to the wall behind after enduring another strong attack. Of course, this was not over yet. The third rock, the fourth rock, until all the rocks hit Alakazam's body, Alakazam was pressed down by the rocks, and above was a hill of rocks. Under the strong pressure, Alakazam was somewhat difficult to move. However, Nancy's eyes glowed blue again. Alakazam's hand suddenly clenched the silver spoon. From his arm, an invisible energy enveloped Alakazam's whole body. Under the control of this energy, the rock pressing on Alakazam flew up, floating around Alakazam's body, aiming at Shakira's in the distance, controlling the rock to smash it. Rockfall, attack. Shakira summoned a huge rock again, and the rock surrounded Shakira's. Seeing that the rocks controlled by Alakazam were about to arrive, Shakira's also used its body's ability to throw the surrounding rocks out one by one. There was a fierce collision between the rocks. In the middle of Shakira's and Alakazam, due to the violent collision of the rocks, the entire venue was filled with smoke. Fortunately, there was a sandstorm, which rolled up all the smoke, and Shakira's could see Alakazam's position clearly. However, Alakazam was already covered with scars at this time, and all the scars on his armor were caused by the impact of the rocks. Also, due to the continuous attack of the sandstorm on it, its physical strength has been compressed. It is estimated that if it is hit again, it will instantly lose its combat ability. Alakazam, self-regeneration. Nana's superpowers have sensed Alakazam's state, but she did not give up. Instead, she let Alakazam recover from the injuries on his body by condensing mysterious energy. Watching Alakazam holding the spoon in his hand and crossing it, an invisible energy gathered at his chest. When the energy reached its peak, it would enter Alakazam's body and travel around its body to recover from the injuries. It seems that if you want to defeat Alakazam, you must let Shakira's use close-range skills. Only that skill can defeat Alakazam. Compared with physical defense, Alakazam's special defense is still higher, while physical defense is relatively low. This is why Zhang Rui thought of using close-range attacks on Alakazam. Now we must find an opportunity to let Alakazam get close to Shakira's body, so that Shakira's can have a chance to attack at close range. Watching the stalemate of the battle between the two sides, Zhang Rui suddenly thought of one thing, that is, every time Alakazam teleports, he will move behind Shakira's. Perhaps this is an opportunity. Just when Alakazam's body recovered, Zhang Rui immediately ordered Shakira's, use the evil wave. Let's see how you can hide. Naturally, Nancy didn't know Zhang Rui's thoughts, but only knew that he was just wasting his energy. Blue light appeared in his eyes again, and Alakazam was staring at the upcoming black ray. Just when the black ray was about to hit it, the body disappeared instantly, came behind Shakira's, and prepared to attack Shakira's. Coincidentally, the last attack of the crazy spinning sandstorm hit Alakazam, which immediately interrupted Alakazam's attack. Then, the sandstorm in the entire competition venue quickly disappeared, and the ground was full of sand, but there was no wind and sand in the air. The sandstorm you are proud of has disappeared, and you have lost this game. Nancy saw the sandstorm on the field disappear, and said with some pride. Really? Zhang Rui looked at Nancy, his mouth slightly raised, and immediately said, Shakira's, use bite. Shakira's on the field immediately turned around, and because Alakazam was gathering superpowers, before he could react, his shoulder was bitten by Shakira's teeth. Alakazam wanted to use superpowers to knock Shakira's away, but it found that the superpowers in its body had disappeared. That's right, the skill Shakira's used just now is an evil skill. By biting your body with teeth with evil attributes, the superpowers in your body will instantly lose their effect. Shakira's, give it the last blow. Zhang Rui looked at Alakazam with a panicked face and gave Shakira's the last order. Shakira's the bite force increased again, and Alakazam felt a mysterious force eroding his body. With the invasion of this force, Alakazam felt that the superpowers in his body were being lost, and he felt powerless all over. Alakazam, who had no power, had his eyes turned into fish plates and lost his ability to fight. How is it? I won this battle. Seeing Nancy taking Alakazam back into the Pokeball, he said to her. Nancy stared at Zhang Rui in the distance. She didn't speak, but controlled the little girl in her hand through her superpowers. The little girl took out a golden badge from her body, slowly walked to Zhang Rui, and handed the golden badge to Zhang Rui. Then, Zhang Rui felt dizzy, and when he woke up again, he was already at the door of the golden gym. If he hadn't held a golden badge in his hand, Zhang Rui would have thought he had a dream. Young man, you are awesome. You actually successfully challenged Nancy's gym. At this moment, a middle-aged man wearing a blue hat ran over not far away. He seemed to see the golden badge in Zhang Rui's hand and praised him. Zhang Rui stared at the man in front of him and recognized him at a glance. This man is Nancy's father, but the family has not reconciled yet. Seeing that Zhang Rui did not answer, Nancy's father waved his hand and said, "You should also work hard in the next gym." After that, his figure quickly disappeared in front of Zhang Rui. Zhang Rui wanted to try to make Nancy's family reconcile, but just when he was about to speak, Nancy's father disappeared. Looking at the direction he disappeared, he had to give up the idea just now. Let's wait for Xiaoji to come to deal with this mess. However, I don't know if Xiaoji can't pass Nancy's Alakazam. Since the gym was over, Zhang Rui called out the system and said to it, "System, exit the copy." As soon as he finished speaking, a familiar transmission channel appeared in front of Zhang Rui, and he walked in as usual. Chapter 96. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for passing the challenge of Golden Gym and obtaining the Nancy Summoning Scroll, Gardevoir Detector, and 200,000 Chinese yuan. The reward has been sent to the warehouse, please check it carefully. Since the host has passed the Golden Gym, he has started to explore the dungeon Laser Town Spirit Tower, and at the same time opened a new dungeon to challenge the Rainbow Gym. Hearing the reward sound of the system, Zhang Rui slowly opened his eyes. Since he had returned to the dormitory, Zhang Rui roughly checked the time. Fortunately, it was only 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so he felt relieved. Then he opened the warehouse to check the rewards issued by the system. First, the Gardevoir Detector, which has the same effect as the Bangila's detector at the beginning, can find the Gardevoir or the pre-evolution appearance of Gardevoir within a radius of 5 kilometers. Of course, this detector can also find Gardevoir evolution stones. Zhang Rui estimated that Gardevoir evolution stones only exist in the dungeon of Kalos, and there are almost no other dungeons. However, after using the detector, he was able to find the location of Gardevoir. Zhang Rui was still very excited. As everyone knows, Gardevoir is a popular Pokémon in the Pokémon world. It not only has good output capabilities, but also has amazing appearance. This makes many trainers obsessed with it. This also leads to Gardevoir not having the qualifications of a quasi-god, but having a quasi-god-like status. The price of male Gardevoir is very ordinary, but if it is a female Gardevoir, it is a rich person's scramble. It is almost impossible to buy it with money. After all, female Gardevoir has a full chest and is deeply loved by trainers. It can also be super evolved. Anyway, it is not a loss after spending money to buy it. Of course, in addition to the Gardevoir Detector, Zhang Rui was given a Nancy Summoning Scroll. I didn't expect the system to be so thoughtful. As long as you meet a woman in the copy, you will be given an extra summoning scroll. Just thinking about getting up every morning and being able to see Nancy sitting or lying next to you is also a good enjoyment, but Zhang Rui did not summon Nancy now. It would not be too late to summon her when he returned to the small world. Let's continue to challenge the dungeon. If he has time, he can go to Ziyuan town to see if there are any suitable ghost-type elves, and then subdue them. This is also a good choice. System, continue to challenge the dungeon. As soon as Zhang Rui finished speaking, a black vortex appeared in front of him again, and he walked in quickly. When he opened his eyes again, he had already arrived in Rainbow City. The perfume produced in Rainbow City is well known far and wide. Many girls will go to Rainbow City to buy perfume to set off their beauty. This also leads to the fact that girls can be seen everywhere in the entire Rainbow City, while men are relatively rare. However, think about it, men are not so obsessed with perfume. After those male trainers came to Rainbow City, they would challenge the gym as soon as possible, and then leave quickly, while female trainers would stay for a while longer. Zhang Rui, who came to Rainbow City, would not choose to stay here for a long time, but quickly ran to the eye-catching building in the distance. This building that looks like a queen of flowers should be the Rainbow Gym. Zhang Rui looked up at the huge building in front of him and walked in without thinking. As soon as he pushed open the glass door in front of him, he saw a girl with blue hair and wearing scout uniform standing in front of Zhang Rui. Judging from her beauty and figure, she is definitely not inferior to the 4 Hualan sisters, and even has a tendency to surpass the Hualan sisters. Rainbow City is indeed a paradise for women. No matter where you go, you can see beautiful women. Are you here to challenge the trainer of the gym? The blue-haired girl looked a little dazed when she saw Zhang Rui's appearance, but she reacted immediately and said. The blue-haired girl saw Zhang Rui nodded, and then turned around and took Zhang Rui to the house. Come on. Please follow me. At the same time, he said to the girl with a beauty mole on the corner of her eye, go and call Miss Erica, and tell her that there is a new challenger, and she looks very handsome. The girl with the beauty mole took advantage of the remaining time to glance at Zhang Rui, and was immediately attracted by Zhang Rui's handsome face. But she did not forget her mission and quickly ran to the other side of the house. Under the leadership of the blue-haired girl, Zhang Rui came to the center of the huge building, which was the location of the battlefield, because this gym is good at using grass-type elves. This also makes the entire battlefield like a low-profile forest, but there are no elves in the low-profile forest, it is only used for battle. Are you today's challenger? Zhang Rui heard a very beautiful voice. The voice was very sweet, and his heart trembled slightly after hearing it. Looking for the location where the voice came from, Zhang Rui in the forest in the distance, a girl in light green sportswear came, with a pair of fascinating dark blue hair on her head, which made the girl in front of him even more beautiful. You are the owner of the Rainbow Gym, Erica? Zhang Rui asked. Yes, I didn't expect today's challenger to be so handsome. I wonder how strong he is. Erica was also attracted by Zhang Rui's appearance, and gestured to the blue-haired girl in the distance. Then can the battle begin? Zhang Rui asked without paying attention to Erica's little movements. Of course, our Rainbow Gym is a 3-on-3 match until all the elves on one side lose their combat ability. Erica replied immediately. It seems that the Rainbow Gym is a more formal gym, which is carried out in full accordance with the regulations of the Kanto Alliance. It is not like the previous gyms, where the owners arrange the rules according to their own ideas. Then let's start the game. My first Pokémon is. Erica took out a Pokeball and threw it out quickly. It's you, Giant Vine. A vine Pokémon with a body wrapped in light blue vines instantly appeared on the field. From a distance, only the eyes could be seen. The arms were also long vine-like, but they had palms. When Zhang Rui saw the giant vine for the first time, he felt a little surprised and thought to himself, I remember that the elves in the Rainbow Gym are vine monsters. Why are they giant vines? Name, Giant Vine, Attribute, Grass, Level, LV40, Quality, A, Gender, Male, Status, Healthy, Features, Chlorophyll, Carrying Props, None, Inherited Moves, Telekinesis, Ultimate Absorption, Leaf Storm. Basic Skills, Blocking, Rooting, Entangling, Hypnotic Powder, Vine Whip, Absorption, Poison Powder, Super Absorption, Shooting Down, Paralysis Powder, Nature's Grace, Primal Power, Taught Skills, Photosynthesis, Skills and Secrets, None. Chapter 97. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Fuck, this giant vine is so perverted. It's even more perverted than Wang Chen's Venusaur. It seems that Shakira's can take a break in this battle. Zhang Rui was a little shocked when he saw the data of the giant vine through the data eye. He wanted to put the Pokeball summoned by Shakira's back immediately, and took out the Pokeball containing Tyranitar and threw it out quickly. It's decided to be you, Tyranitar. The Pokeball opened its mouth in the air, and Tyranitar quickly flew out of it, waving its bright red wings and coming to Zhang Rui. What kind of Pokemon is this? You shouldn't be from the Kanto region, right? Erika was immediately startled by the momentum of Tyranitar when he just appeared, but she immediately calmed down and asked. That's right, this Pokemon doesn't belong to the Kanto region. Zhang Rui replied. Erika nodded, without asking any more questions, and ordered the giant vine, use rooting. The giant vine controlled the vines on its body and slowly stretched them toward the surface. Soon the vine stopped moving, indicating that it had already taken root. Then, a green energy was generated from the surface and slowly transmitted from the top of the vine to the body of the giant vine. Rooting is a skill that only grass-type elves can learn. It is a skill that pierces the vines of the body into the earth, absorbs nutrients from the earth, and continuously restores physical strength. Being able to use the rooting skill at the beginning shows that Erika felt a great threat from the momentum of the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and thought of stabbing it to stabilize its own physical strength by taking root to prevent being directly defeated by the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Spray flames. Zhang Rui would naturally not let the Tyrannosaurus Rex wait for the opponent to become stronger before choosing to attack. The forelimbs of the Tyrannosaurus Rex stepped into the ground, and a large amount of flames began to appear in its mouth. The blazing flames quickly sprayed towards the giant vines in the distance, and no grass grew wherever it went. Ligia's face changed drastically. Looking at the huge fire column that was about to come, she immediately ordered the giant vine, use photosynthesis to restore your strength and resist this attack. Before the fiercely burning fire column arrived, the giant vine stretched its vine-like arms to the top of its head. With the help of the sunlight from the glass of the venue, a small yellow ball appeared on its head. The raging flames quickly attacked and directly submerged the body of the giant vine in the sea of fire. At this moment, the small yellow ball on the top of the head slowly sank into the body of the giant vine. The vine that was originally scorched actually showed signs of recovery, but Ligia still underestimated the power of the flames. The injuries that had been gradually recovering were gradually aggravated. After the flames ended, the body of the giant vine had been scorched. It was estimated that it would take at least a few days to treat it. Ligia saw that the injuries on the giant vine were so serious that a few tears suddenly squeezed out of the corners of her eyes, and she looked fiercely at Zhang Rui in the distance. Under the gaze of these beautiful eyes, Zhang Rui suddenly felt that it was a bit too much to let Tyranitar fight, so he quickly took it back and threw out the Shakira's Pokeball. It is still necessary to let Erika feel superior. After all, after winning, the system may give Erika a summoning scroll. Although the favorability is full, there is still the memory of fighting in the gym. If she has bad intentions towards Zhang Rui at that time, it will be troublesome. Are you looking down on me? Erika took back the giant vine, and her charming eyes stared at Zhang Rui fiercely, seeming a little dissatisfied, feeling that Zhang Rui was giving in to her. Zhang Rui scratched his head and said, the Tyranitar just now can only use one move, and after one move, it has no combat ability, so I changed a Pokemon to play. This is just an excuse Zhang Rui made. If Tyranitar plays again, and it is still a tribute restraint, and it is directly hit by a skill and loses its combat ability, Erika is probably unhappy. It would be better to summon Shakira's. After defeating the Golden Gym, Shakira's level was raised by 1 level. With its amazing physical attack, it can still accomplish the feat of 1-on-2. Okay. I believe what you just said. My next Pokemon is, Go. Venusaur. Erika took out the Pokeball with Venusaur in it and threw it out quickly. Venusaur appeared on the battlefield like a lantern grass, facing Shakira's and swinging into a fighting posture. Name, Venus Flytrap. Attribute, Grass/Poison. Level, LV 41. Quality, A+. Gender, female. Status, healthy. Features, glutton. Carrying items, orange fruit. Inherited moves, Acid Bomb, Burp. Ultimate Absorb. Basic skills, Growth, Bind, Poison Powder, Paralysis Powder, Dissolving Liquid, Slap, gastric. Juice, smash, twist, grass mixer, swallow, charge, leaf blade, leaf storm, teaching skills, seed bomb, skill secrets, none. Shakira's, use the original force. This time Zhang Rui did not give the opponent a chance to use his skills. Shakira's was completely restrained by the Venus flytrap, and he was still thinking of letting him go. Is this possible? Shakira's used his hard silver armor to hit the ground hard. Through the control of the elements, the gravel on the ground flew up and surrounded Shakira's, aiming at the Venus flytrap in the distance. He threw all the gravel around his body at the Venus flytrap. Venus flytrap, green grass blender. Venus flytrap used its long vines to quickly entwine together, just like a blender, crushing all the gravel into dirt. Zhang Rui was a little surprised when he saw the performance of Venus flytrap. The skills had no damage, so how could he fight? It would be better to use the Tyrannosaurus to kill it instantly. There was no other way. Zhang Rui could only let Shakira's continue to fight. Now he had to use Shakira's own advantages to fight through close-range attacks. Flying leaf sharp knife. Seeing that Zhang Rui had not attacked, Erica let the Venus fly launch a quick attack on Shakira's. The Venus fly shook its round body, and the huge leaves on its head gradually fell down. The Venus fly caught the leaves in its hands and fanned all the falling leaves back. Shakira's dodges skills while moving forward. Shakira's did not understand Zhang Rui's idea, but he had to do it. When he saw that the flying leaves were about to hit it, he immediately dodged and successfully avoided the attack of the leaves. In this way, Shakira's dodged all the flying leaves and quickly came in front of the Venus fly. Make a big fuss. Zhang Rui gave an order to Shakira's. There was no other way. Now this skill was the only one that could cause huge damage to the Venus fly, so now, Zhang Rui can only rely on this skill to deal damage, hoping to kill the enemy instantly. Chapter 98. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When Shakira's quickly came in front of the Venus fly was shocked and wanted to quickly distance itself from Shakira's, but it was too late. With its hard body, Shakira's beat the Venus fly. Due to Shakira's strong physical attack, it beat the Venus fly back repeatedly without even a chance to fight back. Zhang Rui used the data eye to observe the current state of the Venus fly. It had changed from healthy to slightly injured, then slightly injured, and then seriously injured. However, when the Venus fly was seriously injured, a force suddenly came from its body, allowing its dying body to recover instantly. Coincidentally, Shakira's had completed a round of attack at this time, and now needed to buffer before launching the next offensive. Flying leaf storm. Seeing that Shakira's had such a powerful attack ability, Erica was shocked. She didn't know what Shakira's had eaten and why his attack ability was so powerful. In order to prevent its next round of attack, Erica immediately asked the Venus flytrap to use its most powerful skill, hoping to kill Shakira's instantly. The Venus flytrap used its long vine whip to roll up a large number of fallen leaves. As the vine whip speeded up, the surrounding fallen leaves gradually increased. Soon, with the help of the vine whip, the leaves and rocks on the ground began to rotate, surrounding Shakira's in the middle of the whirlwind. A large number of rocks and leaves continued to gather, causing heavy damage to Shakira's. Due to the commotion, Zhang Rui was unable to let it perform other skills during the skill casting. This was also the first time that Shakira's was damaged by such a strong attack. Fortunately, the armor on Shakira's body was extremely hard. Just when the whirlwind was about to end, Shakira's attacked again. The powerful attack forced the Venus flytrap to interrupt the skill casting. The whole body was hit by Shakira's, and almost every part of the body was used. The Venus flytrap could not withstand such a powerful attack. It collapsed directly to the ground and lost its ability to fight. Erica was stunned. She didn't expect Shakira's to be able to withstand the strongest grass-type skills. However, after the attack just now, Shakira's was probably not feeling well. This is my last Pokémon. Go. Tyrannosaurus. As Erica took back Venus Flower, she threw the Pokeball containing Tyrannosaurus out at the same time. Seeing the Pokémon with a huge red flower on its head, Zhang Rui was also sweating. This Tyrannosaurus is not of a low level. Name, Queen Flower. Attribute, Grass/Poison. level, LV43, quality, S-. Gender, female, status, healthy, features, spores, carrying items, miracle seed, inherited moves, leaf blade, absorb strength, photosynthesis, force of nature, basic skills, power of the moon, absorb, grow, sweet fragrance, dissolving liquid, hypnotic powder, lucky spell, moonlight, ultimate absorb, grace of nature, green grass field, super absorb. Taught skills, absorbing fist, skill secrets, hold, queen flower. Had just appeared on the stage, and Shakira's directly launched a large number of close-range attacks on it, causing the queen flower to suffer a lot of damage as soon as it appeared. Zhang Rui could see that its status had quickly changed from healthy to slightly injured, and it was able to withstand Shakira's attack, which showed that this queen flower was well cultivated. Just when the queen flower was attacked, an unknown pollen suddenly sprayed out from its red flower. After being absorbed by Shakira's body began to slowly turn purple. Zhang Rui saw at a glance that Shakira's was poisoned by the characteristic spores of the queen flower, and the skill of making a big fuss just ended. Now Shakira's body suddenly felt dizzy and couldn't even walk clearly. This was due to the chaotic behavior after making a big fuss. Two negative states appeared at the same time. I don't know how long Shakira's can hold on. It seems that your elf is about to die. Queen flower, use the green grass field. The big red flower on the top of Queen Flower's head instantly sprayed a large amount of green fog. As the green fog increased, the entire battlefield was shrouded by this fog. With the skill bonus of the green grass field, your Pokémon is finished. Vampire, use the final blow on that Pokémon, use ultimate absorption. Vampire lowered its head and aimed the huge red flower at Shakira's body, trying to absorb Shakira's physical strength. However, Zhang Rui would not let it succeed, and gave another order, use hold. Even if Shakira's was in chaos state, but this protective skill will not fail. The green barrier resisted the attack of the queen flower, but it could not resist the toxins in the body. Shakira's was affected by the poison and his state had changed to serious injury. At this moment, the green mist suddenly produced a green energy that poured into Shakira's body, and Shakira's physical strength actually increased. Why does our green grass field help your elves? Erica was a little confused. It was obviously a field that increased the power of the grass type, so how could it restore the opponent's physical strength? You don't know this. The green grass field can not only increase the skill damage of the grass type elves, but also restore certain injuries for the ground type elves. Zhang Rui saw that Erica was a little confused, so he answered immediately. Shakira's, use the last one and break it step by step. Shakira's chaotic state just ended. After hearing Zhang Rui's voice, he aimed at the Venus fly not far away, flashed his body, and rushed over quickly. With the impact of his hard body, he directly knocked the queen flower out. The tyrant flower turned into an arc in the air and fell heavily to the ground, instantly losing its ability to fight. Tyrant flower. Eligia immediately ran over, helped tyrant flower up, and said to it, "You performed very well today, take a good rest." After that, she took out the Pokeball and took tyrant flower back, and at the same time gave a look to the blue-haired girl who was watching the battle. The other party immediately understood what it meant, took out the petal badges with different colors from her body and handed them to Zhang Rui. Congratulating Zhang Rui, congratulations on your victory. This is the Rainbow Badge, which is your proof of defeating the Rainbow Gym. Zhang Rui took the Rainbow Badge, nodded to the beautiful girl in front of him, turned around and left the Rainbow Gym. This time he did not exit the dungeon immediately, but came to the Pokémon Center and handed all the Pokémons to Joey, asking it to help heal. "Thank you, Miss Joey." Joey took the Pokeball, showed a charming smile and said, "Okay, I will start to treat your Pokémon right away." Chapter 99. You are listening at novelfull.audio. During Miss Joy's treatment, Zhang Rui seemed bored. He sat by the window and turned his head to look at the scene in the distance, seeing the beautiful women outside the window. A large number of women were lying on the window in front of the perfume shop, using their eyes to look at the perfumes placed in the window, and twisting their bodies from time to time. At this moment, Zhang Rui found Xiaoji who suddenly arrived not far away, which surprised him a little. He couldn't even figure out how Xiaoji beat Nancy's powerful Alakazam. Did he capture the ghost-type Pokémon? But Zhang Rui immediately shook his head. According to the plot, Xiaoji couldn't capture the ghost-type Pokémon. It was probably to invite the ghost-type Pokémon to help. From Zhang Rui's eyes, Xiaoji said goodbye to Xiaojiang as soon as he arrived in Rainbow City and ran excitedly to the Rainbow Gym. Zhang Rui had just obtained the badge of the Rainbow Gym. It was estimated that Xiaoji would not be able to accept the challenge when he arrived there. After Xiaoji left, Zhang Rui did not look at the beautiful scenery outside, but walked to Miss Joy's service desk and put the Pokeballs of Tyranitar and Shakira's, which had been treated, into his pocket. "Thank you, Miss Joy." After thanking Miss Joy, Zhang Rui quickly left the Pokemon Center. As for why Zhang Rui did not exit the dungeon to treat the Pokemon, it was actually because Shakira's was affected by the poisoning. Even if it was received in the Pokeball, it would continue to suffer from the pain of poisoning. Besides, the two Pokemons have not been fully treated for a long time. Joy's level of treating Pokemons in the dungeon is recognized by the Alliance, and her skills are at least much better than those in the Pokemon world. Since the Pokemons have been treated, Zhang Rui did not stay in the dungeon for long and immediately exited the dungeon. As soon as Zhang Rui exited the dungeon, the long-lost voice sounded again, "Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for passing the Rainbow Gym and getting rewards, Horiga Summoning Scroll, Lizard King Detector, 200,000 Pokemon Coins. The rewards have been issued to the warehouse, please check them carefully. Ding dong. The Copy Light Crimson Gym is open, whether the host will challenge it or not." Zhang Rui did not enter the gym again to challenge, but entered the copy of Aster Elf Tower to explore. The Elf Tower is a very old building in Aster Town. No one has lived in it for a long time, so it naturally became the residence of ghost-type elves, and it is actually an amusement park. In the anime, in order to challenge Nancy, Xiaoji came to the Elf Tower and tried to capture a ghost-type elf to fight against Nancy, but everyone knows Xiaoji's character. The other party knew that if he agreed to help him, he would not use the ball to capture it. With the help of the ghost, Xiaoji also successfully passed the Golden Gym and got the Golden Badge. According to the plot of the anime, there are only Ghastly and Jengar in the Elf Tower now, and Haunter should be next to Nancy now. Zhang Rui, who already knew what was in the tower, did not stay outside the tower, but pushed open the ancient door and walked inside. It was also pitch black inside, and the road was not visible at all. In order to see the route clearly, Zhang Rui picked up his phone and started to explore the Elf Tower in light mode. Just as he turned on the light, he saw a huge black shadow appear in front of him, with bright eyes, staring at the man in front of him. Zhang Rui was frightened and took a few steps back. His face was a little pale. He used the light of his phone to look at the black shadow in the distance. After noticing Zhang Rui retreating, the black shadow opened his mouth and laughed there. At this moment, a Ghastly wrapped in gas came to its side, looked at Zhang Rui in the distance, and grinned. After seeing Ghastly, Zhang Rui realized that it was Ghastly and Jengar. Thinking of this, Zhang Rui immediately put his mind at ease. As soon as he turned on the light, he saw a figure waiting for him. It is estimated that even the bravest people will be scared by the scene in front of them. Zhang Rui seemed to be relieved, walked up to the two Pokemons, and said to them, "You must be lonely in the Pokemon Tower every day, right?" Hearing Zhang Rui's words, Jengar and Haunt stopped laughing, their faces instantly turned sad, and they nodded. Indeed, because they are ghost-type Pokemons, Pokemons and trainers outside will choose to stay away from them and will not try to approach them at all. Now they can only move freely in the Pokemon Tower. At the beginning, the three Pokemon stayed together, and it was fun to play a little prank every day, but after Haunter left, there were only two Pokemons left in the Pokemon Tower, and no one usually came to the Pokemon Tower to adventure, which made them very lonely and had no target to play pranks on, and Zhang Rui's words hit their hearts, which was what they wanted most. "Then do you want to follow me and become stronger together?" Gung Gui and Ghastly looked at each other, then looked at the empty room, and nodded to Zhang Rui. It seemed that following the trainer to take risks was also a good choice. Since they agreed, Zhang Rui wanted to take out the Pokeball to subdue it, but was stopped by the two Pokemons. Gung Gui saw the other party take out the Pokeball, and immediately pushed his hand and shook his head. Then, the body suddenly danced involuntarily, and the black arms kept swinging there like punching. Zhang Rui understood their intentions instantly. Do you want to achieve the goal of conquering through fighting? Seeing Jengar nodded, Zhang Rui did not hesitate and quickly took out the pokeball containing Shakira's and threw it out. Go. Shakira's. Name, Jengar. Attribute, Ghost/Poison. Level, LV 40, Quality, S+. Gender, Male, Status, Healthy, Features, Cursed Body, Carrying Items, None, Inherited Moves, Scare, Flame Fist, Ice Fist, Lightning Fist, Mental Wave, Mirror Attribute, Basic Skills, Shadow Fist, Hypnosis, Licking Tongue, Resentment, Black Eyes, Curse, Night Shadow, Strange Light, Assault, Tooth for Tooth, Shadow Ball, Dream Eater, Taught Skills, Characteristic Exchange. Skill Secrets, None. Just now, Zhang Rui was attracted by Jengar's amazing data when he saw it for the first time. Otherwise, he would not want to subdue Jengar, but turned around and left here. Shakira's, use Evil Wave. In the dark environment, Shakira's locked Jengar's position with a weak light. A large amount of black matter was constantly condensing in his mouth. At this time, Jengar had no idea of attacking at all and was very leisurely. At this moment, black light suddenly shot out, and Jengar used his transparent body to slowly sneak into the ground. The black light hit the dilapidated wood, and a huge pit suddenly appeared. Chapter 100. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This is the trouble with ghost-type Pokémon. When attacked, it can freely shuttle through any building through its gas-like body, making it difficult to hit. Due to the dim light, Zhang Rui had to pay attention to Jengar's position. In a dark environment, you have no idea where Jengar will appear, but fortunately Zhang Rui can lock Jengar's position through the data eye. Using the light of the mobile phone, shine it towards Jengar's position, and you will see a black ball emitting light suddenly appear in Jengar's hand. Jengar seemed to notice Zhang Rui's discovery of its position and was a little surprised, but still aimed the black ball in his hand at Shakira's in the distance and fired it. Shakira's, dodge. Because Zhang Rui locked Jengar's position through light, just when the black ball was about to hit Shakira's immediately moved its hard body and successfully avoided the attack of the black ball. Rockfall. A large number of rocks quickly emerged around Shakira's body and were immediately thrown at Jengar in the air. Jengar's eyes emitted pink light. Facing the rock that was about to hit him, the pink light generated by the two big eyes merged together and outputted to the rock. The rock could not withstand such strong energy and exploded in the air in an instant. Just when Jengar was relaxing, it did not expect that there were more than one rock. In the gray-brown smoke, another huge rock came at a high speed. Jengar was hit before he could react. Because it was an attribute attack, Jengar's gas-like body could not withstand it at all and was smashed directly against the wall. Seeing that there were more rocks coming from behind, Jengar immediately used the characteristics of his body to slowly sink into the wall. The rest of the rocks all hit the wall, and none of them hit. Zhang Rui found that Jengar had disappeared, and hurriedly used the data eye to continue to check its position, and found Jengar's existence behind Shakira's. Shakira's, behind you, use the wave of evil. Shakira's trusted Zhang Rui's words 100%. Black matter kept condensing in his mouth. He turned around quickly, and before Jengar could react, he was hit by the thick black ray. Zhang Rui immediately threw the pokeball in his hand and captured Jengar the moment it touched Jengar in the air. The pokeball fell to the ground, shook on the floor for a few times, and finally stopped shaking. This also shows that Zhang Rui successfully captured Jengar. Garcelle, it's your turn next. Zhang Rui picked up the pokeball on the ground with a quick step and said. He put the pokeball in his hand back into his pocket and looked around, but he didn't see Ghastly. Then, Zhang Rui shouted to Ghastly. No matter how Zhang Rui shouted, he didn't see Ghastly. Even when he ran to the room on the top floor, he didn't find any trace of Ghastly. Zhang Rui had no choice but to give up on capturing Ghastly and leave the Pokemon Tower. Not long after Zhang Rui left, the disappeared Ghastly suddenly appeared in the dark environment, and not far away came a boy who was only about 8 years old and said to Ghastly. Gung Gui finally found his master, and our mission is completed. Ghastly and the little boy looked at each other, and their bodies gradually became transparent and finally disappeared. Zhang Rui returned to the dormitory and did not challenge the dungeon again, but prepared to go to the Trainer Association to buy an advanced energy cube making machine. As for why Zhang Rui was so fast, it was mainly because when Zhang Rui left the dungeon, he found that the time had come to 6 o'clock, and a touch of red sunset suddenly appeared in the originally blue sky. In order to have a chance to go to the ruins building after buying the cube-making machine to see if there are any elves with excellent qualifications, he prepared to buy everything he needed before 7 o'clock. After leaving the school, Zhang Rui took a car directly to the Trainer Association. In fact, he could ride on the Dragonite to the Trainer Association quickly, but he should keep a low profile. Otherwise, the trainer's eyes would turn red after seeing the quasi-god, and he would want to fight Zhang Rui. Although Zhang Rui was not afraid, it was a waste of time. After arriving at the Trainer Association, Zhang Rui did not need the help of the service staff at all, and went directly to the fruit store. He spent 300,000 Chinese yuan to buy an advanced energy block making machine. Originally, Zhang Rui wanted to see if there was a special energy block making machine. He found that there was no one in the entire store. After asking the service staff, he learned that the highest level of a general city-level city is only an advanced manufacturing machine, and the special grade ones can only be purchased in provincial cities. For the master grade ones, they need to be customized, just like Yifei's mother. Her energy cube maker is customized. Because the cube maker is a bit large, it is inconvenient for Zhang Rui to buy other things. Suddenly I thought that Jengar's body is like a black hole, and some items can be put into its body for storage. When he walked out of the fruit store, Zhang Rui released Jengar, and the newly summoned Jengar instantly attracted the attention of most trainers. Zhang Rui completely ignored their eyes, picked up the fruit maker and stuffed it into Jengar's body. Sure enough, Jengar's body was like a bottomless pit. After putting the fruit maker in, it immediately merged into Jengar's body. In order to reward Jengar, Zhang Rui took out ordinary energy cubes for Jengar to take as a reward for its willingness to help. This also attracted the attention of trainers even more. Even if the energy cube has no effect, the quality is there. The energy cube Zhang Rui fed to Jengar was of diamond quality. Some knowledgeable trainers could tell at a glance that the energy cube in Zhang Rui's hand was not ordinary. After Jengar took the energy cube, Zhang Rui noticed that all the trainers around him were looking at him, which made him a little embarrassed. He smiled at the trainers and walked towards the Pokeball store with Jengar. It was already 7 o'clock. Zhang Rui was walking on the street leading to the abandoned building, followed by Jengar. When they were far away from the Trainer Association, Zhang Rui breathed a sigh of relief. Just now, Zhang Rui bought some advanced balls and some Pokeballs with unique functions in the Pokeball store. Such Pokeballs are specially used to capture Pokemon of a certain attribute. Zhang Rui bought them because he hoped that the Pokeballs on his body could be of various types, not just red. Then Zhang Rui also bought some special grade good medicines, which can directly restore seriously injured Pokemon to their full glory, but the price is also more expensive than ordinary good medicines. After purchasing these things, Zhang Rui was stopped by those trainers. Their purpose was very simple, which was to get closer to Zhang Rui. After all, a trainer who could take out diamond-level energy blocks at will was definitely not an ordinary person.